Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. It's me, your friend Ayotunde. You are on Thoughts on Paper. On this channel, I like to share random thoughts, all the various things that, jump into your mind, jump in and out of your mind through the days. I created this channel just to share those thoughts with you and hear what you think as well. I used to have a blog called Thoughts on Paper also, but the blog address was aitneves.wordpress.com, where I used to write these things down. But since I can do it easier on YouTube by just speaking them instead of writing them, I thought I'd start putting those things online on YouTube. And that's exactly what I'm doing right now. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about the English language. English language. That language that we Africans probably understand better than the owners themselves, which is an interesting fact, by the way. When I was doing my master's in the UK 2016, I found that many English people thought I spoke very well, and they thought I used the English language very well, which I was at the time proud of. Well, I still am, but not so much anymore. But I've realized that many Africans speak very good English, and we pride ourselves in understanding and speaking very good English. In fact, we, for lack of a better phrase, look down on people, on Africans who can't speak the English language. We regard them as unlearned, poor, just generally not exposed, which is a curious thing because that does not make any sense. I, an African, cannot rate another African based on how much of another man's culture he understands. I'll say that again. It makes no sense for an African to rate another African on how much of another man's culture he understands. We're out eating fine dining and I don't know how to use the fork and knife. I'm not familiar with it. We've been served with all those, how those things are served, where you have cutlery upon cutlery upon cutlery from the inside out. And I'm looking all confused. I don't know what to do. And somebody else, another African, is sitting beside me. And you know how to do all those things. You take the dessert spoon, you know how to use the fork and knife and all that. If you find yourself looking down on me just for the fact that I can't use the fork and knife very well, there is a problem with you. And I think at some point in our individual developments, individually, I think we would have gone through that. Just think about it. How you have looked down on another African, on maybe him not being able to speak English well or not understanding some aspect of the English culture and all of that. Now, take a minute to think about that, if that indeed is not slavery of the mind. And it seems this thing affects us Africans more than any other races. I was listening to Seun Kuti on YouTube the other day, and he said something which I found to be true. When Africans go abroad, they are quicker to imbibe the accent. When they go to the USA or to the UK, they are quicker. Give them 6 months, 1 year. Sometimes just 2-3 months. You find that the accents are all changed. Somebody who would probably have spoken English as, "I want to drink water. Please, where is the direction to the shop?" Give them 3 months in the USA. They'd all be, "Hey, get me some water." What do you mean? I'm not even saying it well, but I found it to be really true. I doubt if nationals from other country switch accents that quickly. And if you think deeply about it, I think it would just be because we have associated being well-to-do, being proper, being learned, being educated with being more and more of another man, of the white man. And this is an after effect of colonialism, simple. Because indeed, colonialism is still running. It's just in the neo-colonial phase, and there are many mechanisms in place to keep the program going. And I hope more and more Africans will understand this and start to deprogram their minds from this yoke. Because think about it. Why would me, an African, rate another African based on how much of an Englishman's culture he understands? And I would rather look down, further down, on people who understand their language very well. I am Yoruba. And when someone comes from the village and they're speaking raw, unadulterated Yoruba, people tend to look down on them. When they're speaking proper Yoruba, Nigerians, you feel what I'm saying. Or when they speak the English language and they use accents that show properly that they are African, we look down on them. And I think it's not right. People from Ibadan in Nigeria tend to have something people call the H factor. How are you? When words start with vowels, they would put H in front of it, so they make the sound. We make fun of them, or when people can say shoe, because that SH may not be prominent in their own language. And they say, Su, where is my Su? Suit the sort. In fact, there was a teacher in my secondary school we used to make fun of who used to talk like that. He would say, suit your sort. And everybody would just laugh, But what's wrong with that? Have you heard an Italian man speak English? Have you heard a Chinese man speak English? Do they try to change the way they speak? And are they still not very well respected? It's only we Africans that try to change the way we speak to show that we're learned, we're educated. That's nothing but slavery. How do you think a white man perceives you when you do that? Think long and hard about this. I've had it in mind to speak about this for a long time now. What inspired me doing it today is that recently, just days ago, the Kenyan President Ruto was teasing Nigerians for how they speak English, how you would need an interpreter before you can understand them. Essentially saying that Kenyan people spoke better English. And here in Ghana, I used to get this a lot, where Ghanaians would tell me that Ghanaians speak better English than Nigerians. They would say their English is closer to the British than that of Nigerians. And I would respond by saying, who cares? Why should I care that my English is closer or not closer to the British? It's nothing to be proud of. The way I speak my English is a reflection of my mother tongue. So if I say suit, not because I want to, mispronounce the language, but because that's how it comes out. My original tongue colors the English language. All I should care about is, do you understand it or not? Not how it sounds. So I think Africans should start to decolonize their minds. Be proud in how you speak. Be proud in your culture. We Africans need to do better when it comes to this. I don't want this video to be too long. I will end this here, but I want to know what you think about these thoughts. Please put it in the comments. I think we Africans should start being proud in who we are, in how we speak any language. Let's start promoting our own culture more, and let's not look down on each other based on how much of another man's culture we understand. Put your thoughts in the comments. And I'd appreciate if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more things like this. Please subscribe and leave a like. God bless you. I'll see you in the next one.